And he goes, well, we're going to kiss this fire and walk away whistling. And I went, Coach, that sounds good. I don't know what that means. And he said, I'm not saying it's not going to be hot. I'm not saying it's not going to burn. I'm saying we're going to walk through this thing together, and it's not going to take your joy, and it's not going to take your purpose, and it's not going to steal your calling. And you are through this, and you are going to be stronger on the other side, and I'm going to be with you every step of the way. We're going to kiss this fire.
Well, hey, crew, it is Adam and Emily, and if you are listening or if you are watching, you are joining us for the conversation, specifically the conversation episode 325.
325.
And we are so happy that you are here and joining us today. We have all sorts of fun chit-chat coming up.
We got all sorts of chit-chat coming up.
we
got some giveaways. Speaking of chit-chat.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
We do. So we are giving away 3 Tommy John gift cards. And if you have never purchased from Tommy John, Adam,
you haven't lived.
Yeah,
Tommy John is the best. I just got a new PJs. I wear PJs on a regular basis because I'm an old man and I get really cold at night. Tommy John PJs. I know they're known for undershirts and underwear. It's their PJs that are legit. I texted my friend Tom the other night and was like, hey, the PJs is where it's happening.
I was just talking to a gal today in the office, and she said her husband exclusively wears Tommy John underwear, will not wear anything else.
That sounds like a good life. So we have 3 gift cards, $50 gift cards that we're giving out.
So if you are listening, go to the description, go watch us on YouTube, type a comment that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you are entered to win the giveaway.
So just over on YouTube, drop a comment. There's a high chance of getting this. I'm going to compete with you if you don't do it, so I'll just do that.
Oh, perfect. Before we go any further today, we have some awesome partners that we want to thank just for making the conversation possible. Adam, who do we got partnering today?
Yeah, our partners are amazing, and I don't say that lightly. They're partners that I know and trust so well, and that's why I want you to know about them as well. Our first partner is the International Justice Mission. IJM is a global nonprofit working to end slavery and violence around the world, taking special care of survivors from the moment they're rescued all the way through their healing. I was able to go on a trip last year to Kenya with the tight end from the Patriots, Hunter Henry, who was up for Man of the Year from the Patriots, along with CJ Ham for the Vikings. Let's go. 2 awesome legends. But really IJM is just incredible. They don't just rescue people from slavery and violence. Instead, they're like the hope and goal and mission is to change structures of society so that people don't end up in slavery at all. And so if you're interested in becoming a Freedom Partner, my wife and I are a Freedom Partner. That means that we're monthly givers. If you're interested in giving on a monthly basis, I can't think of a better investment. Go to ijm.org. Whether it's $30 a month or $50 a month, you will not regret a single penny of it. ijm.org. Our second partner is Vern ID Mitsubishi. Vern ID is a growing employee-owned company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives in all that they do. And honestly, I tell everybody to go to Vern ID. I know so much of their team. I work with Jared over at the Honda store on a regular basis. No matter what kind of vehicle you're looking for, whether it's an Outlander like I drive, whether it's a Honda CR-V like my wife drives, they're going to have it. And no matter where you live, they will ship it to you. That's something people don't think about enough.
I didn't even know it was possible until I started working here.
They're amazing. I'm like, don't go anyplace else. You'll regret it. Just go to Vern ID. They're incredible.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Today's episode, Adam sat down with Shawn Johnson, who is a pastor out in Colorado. Can you give us a little Cliff Notes? What did you guys chat about?
Yeah, so Shawn is the founding pastor of Red Rocks Church. Their worship team, Red Rocks Worship, is getting more and more well known.
Do they actually perform like at Red Rocks?
They do. They just had their 20th anniversary as a church, and they had a huge celebration.
That's cool.
At Red Rocks. I've driven by Red Rocks a whole bunch of times, like the actual place.
Yeah.
But I just need to pull my car over and stop.
It's really cool.
It's out on the way to Lost Valley Range, so that's why I've been out that way.
I've never been to a concert there, but it's on my bucket list. I want to.
I need to get to one. But Shawn, seriously, I love this guy. Him and I, we first crossed paths at a conference out in Colorado Springs. It's the first time I've met him. but he's one of the coolest pastors I know, and he's also one of the most honest pastors I know. And so we just talked about a couple different things. He was recently diagnosed with something similar to Parkinson's. I think it's kind of like something that same, just kind of general area health wise. And so we just talked about the importance of having fun. And how that's not always been a normal thing for him. And yet since the diagnosis and just in general, like that's something he's pushing towards. And also we just talked about, he's got a new book out right now called Kiss the Fire. And we just talk about like, what do you do when you feel like giving up? Whether it's a diagnosis, whether it's just a hard season, something that just kind of punches you in the face. Like, what do you do when you want to give up? So you're going to enjoy this conversation. Sit back, relax, and listen in. Something that's been so fun, your son Ethan.
Yes.
Honestly, away from you just being real, my favorite thing on your Instagram is when you share a clip of Ethan sharing.
Oh,
What's that been like?
Bro, it was crazy. Like when we started the church, he was 1. And so, yeah, a couple weeks ago, he preached at church. And dude, I just sat on the front row, just like, and like the first day we got to town, he was crying and he was looking at Jill and he just kept saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. And Jill's now crying. She's like, me too. And I'm like, I've ruined our lives. What are we doing? Starting a church is the dumbest idea ever. And yeah, man. And so, yeah, 2-3 weeks ago, he preached at church and dude, it was just like, my heart just couldn't hardly take it. It was just, yeah.
What was the name of that series?
Young Bucks.
Oh, I love that. When I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, I feel like it's one thing to talk about pulling up the next generation. It's another thing to turn over Sundays, weekends.
Yeah, it's you go, okay, here we go. But we do believe in a whole bunch of, like, we have so many great communicators on our team.
Yeah.
And man, it's good for the church,
it is.
I think it's good for those communicators to feel that pressure, because they talk at youth and young adults and wherever else, but the deal, man. It's a different deal when you got to get up there and say hi to the different campuses and states and stuff. And it's a whole new rate. Yeah.
That's super cool. This is purely the dad in me asking, what was that like raising him up? Should he be at Red Rocks? Is he going to be like, can you share any of that? Like, is there any wisdom for this guy?
Anything you want. I don't know if I have wisdom, but I can tell you anything you want.
What has that been like? So my son did an internship this summer at a church called Eaglebrook up in Minneapolis, an amazing church up there, been so good to us. And he's just coming back. He's going to college locally, but as an electric guitar player. And I'm even trying to figure out, like, how do I do that dance as the lead pastor, as his dad? Any wisdom on that front?
Well, I think everyone, a lot of our friends that do what we do have already faced and are going to face that same, kind of dilemma / opportunity. So I wasn't really sure how to go about it, to be honest. I don't know that shocked is the right word, but pleasantly surprised that he just loved church so much. Because, you just hear the horror stories of pastor kids, right? And so he just loves church, always has. I remember as a little kid, I remember one day he picked up my notes. He couldn't have been more than like 6. And he picks up my notes and starts looking through them and he goes, "No funny intro, huh?" But he's just always been picking things apart and paying attention to the church. When we were 8 years in, we had 2 locations at the time. I'm sorry, I don't know if we were 8 years in. That might be about right. Yeah, but we had about 8,000 people, about 2 different locations. Got evicted from both locations in the same week, and we were like, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. And my son comes into to me and Jill in the kitchen, and he hid in Times New Roman font on the computer. He typed Red Rocks Church, trust in Jesus. And he said, Mom, Dad, we make merch. That's what we do. So we're going to make this T-shirt and we're going to sell it and we'll be able to buy a building.
Oh my gosh.
He still has the piece of paper that he printed out that says Red Rocks Church, trust in Jesus or trust in God or something like that. So he's always been really interested. And then, he told me he wanted to go to college and do theology. And I was like, okay, that kind of puts you on a path towards a certain, that doesn't have to, but it definitely puts you on a path towards a certain profession. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. And there were times when we actually were like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, it's awesome, but are you sure? And he just loves it. And so, for us, it came to the point where it was like, well, he's going to work at a church. I'd rather him work with us if he wants to. But I didn't know if he would want to. And because, when you get in college, he was at a Christian college, and, so him and his buddies are always going to different churches. And so the fact that he wanted to was like awesome for us. Super cool. And then, but I didn't, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I didn't do the, hey, you're hired and we'll just figure out something for you. What actually happened was, it was funny. Me and Jill went on vacation at the end of the summer a couple years ago. And we had talked to him. He was packing to go back to school for his senior year. And we ended up having a youth position open up. And the person on our team who was overseeing all the youth pastors talked to Ethan about if he'd want to do his last year of school here, correspondence, and get hired as one of the youth pastors. So we came back from vacation and we were like, wait, what? You're not going back to school? And so I wasn't even sure I loved that for him, only because I'm thinking, you work your whole life. You know what I mean? Enjoy college. But he really wanted to do it. And so I really wasn't the one to pull the trigger on initially hiring him. Of course, they asked me when I got back, hey, is this okay? But this is what we want to do. And so it's just been really cool. And man, he's just, no joke. I got a text from one of our guys on our leadership team this morning. I don't know what they had today. Must have been some sort of getting all the youth team together from the different locations or something. But one of the guys texted and said, dude, Ethan's doing so good leading this meeting. And I was just like, oh. So it's cool and it's weird. It's weird.
Shawn, that was, as I'm asking the question, I'm like, I should have maybe given you a heads up on that question just because that's a little messy, but thank you for, that's exactly what I was looking for. And I've been navigating in a similar way with my oldest is Hudson. And I really wanted him to earn it himself. I didn't want the feeling where it's like, oh, of course, whatever. So it was probably a harder road for him to get on stage. And finally, the team around me was like, dude, your son is honestly one of our best electric guitar players. I know he's only a freshman in high school at that time, but can we put him on stage? I'm like, you do whatever. But I just think, thanks for sharing that. Because I think whether you're a lead pastor or different, but similar, the head of a company or whatever, I think that's something that's just can be awkward and messy to navigate.
It's super awkward. And I think it's more awkward for the children than maybe we even realize. About 2 or 3 summers ago, I found out through the grapevine that he had applied for a summer internship, like after his freshman year of college. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, because I didn't want you pulling any strings for me. I want to get this on my own. And I was like, all right. But the awkwardness it's still there. For instance, we were in a meeting a couple of days ago as a leadership team. We're talking about some pretty major moves and position things. And now that he is on staff at a campus doing a thing, he just will be brought up in conversation because different moves affect different things. And I can almost see people almost hesitate to say what they're thinking. And I still have to remind him, and I still have to go, hey, I don't care that he's my son. What's best for the church? Talk like you would if he wasn't my son. I have to remind him of stuff like that because it does get awkward and funky.
That's good, man. Thanks for that was worth the price of admission for this Yahoo if nobody else. Okay, I was gonna hit this at the end, but since we're talking church stuff, one last church question: what are you currently seeing that's working at Red Rocks? Is there anything that's like, man, I did like. This is something that we're leaning into, or this is something that I'm feeling in my preach. Is there anything that you would say there? And this is not a pastor's podcast. But
No, I know.
we are sponsored by Fresca. Actually, we're not, but I wish we would. Shout out to Fresca.
Come on, Fresca, get on board.
Come on.
Get on board. What's working? Man, it's so funny. We just celebrated 20 years in January.
Yeah.
And I still feel like we get together every Monday and go, now what? We're looking at property. We're trying to expand. And we go through seasons like probably every church leadership team of, I feel like we're struggling here. What if we try this? What if we try this? We've actually, this is super juvenile probably, but we've actually just started. We used to back in the day, because we had so much spare time because no one was in the church. We used to make these funny, ridiculous videos that go with sermon series all the time. And we kind of stopped doing that, but just because we got busy, I went through some stuff personally. We had some staff change. And so we just, this summer we're going to get back to having a lot of fun. And so we're in a series right now where we're just making the dumbest videos that you have seen. Our church doesn't even know it yet, but our next series, we just filmed like 4 Dumb and Dumber spoofs. I mean, like on the moped, on the highway, we're just being silly and trying to have fun again. Because if I'm not careful, the pressures of what we do, but then combined with like my diagnosis and some stuff that we're dealing with, if I'm not careful, I can just get real serious all the time. And I just, we kind of decided this summer, man, dang it. Like time flies. We've done this 20 years now. Let's have fun on purpose. And what we are now being reminded of as we're doing it, it actually takes a lot of energy and effort and intentionality to have fun.
Yeah.
And so like we just took our staff to a pickleball. We rented out a pickleball court and had a pickleball tournament. And like, we're just trying to have fun. All this, whatever, the spiritual things, we're trying our best at everything. But if I'm not too careful, I just get real serious without meaning to. And then I'm not even fun to be around because I'm just like so focused on what's next. And so I'm trying to have some fun right now and then just still try to do everything we're supposed to.
Yeah. Okay. One more question before we get to the heart of things. Anything else that you've figured out in that area of not being so serious and having more fun? Because that is me. And I honestly, I grieve it a lot. Like, dude, why are you so intense? And maybe it's just a workload and life, my dad's health, things like, life, but like, I kind of grieve that part of me. So that's,
No, it's, man, I think I think it's tough for people that are driven, period. Some of the people, especially in the do what we do for a living, that are the most successful that I know personally, really struggle with fun. And it's a conversation I've had with a bunch of friends because it's like, man, I don't think God wanted us to like be miserable while we did this. I think we're supposed to have joy in the process.
Yeah.
And so, but for me, like some of the guys I work with, their natural bent is just fun. And then I'll get pissed off and be like, can you get serious and get to work around here? And so my natural bent, if I'm not careful, is just get driven. And so I think it's just intentionality, man. I joined a men's small group and none of them work at a church. And they're all different than me. They're all outdoorsmen. A lot of them from Colorado. And so like, I'm one of the few people in Colorado who doesn't mountain bike. I've done it once before and fell down the cliff. And so, but they convinced me, and Monday night I was on top of a mountain with 7 dudes and riding down in the dark, trying to survive. But it's like, I just got to force myself to go do things that I know are going to end up being fun. And I always convince myself I don't have time for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I love that. And none of them are pastors too. No. Like there's something, and it's cool to hang with pastors in certain ways. Like one of my closest mentors. I can't spend enough time with him, but to have that time where it's like, yeah, no, it's not a group of pastors.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned your diagnosis.
Yes,
if you're willing to share just about that.
So about 3 years ago, it was funny. Well, it wasn't funny. About 6 years ago, I had a real struggle with anxiety. It kind of took me by surprise a bit and started having real bad panic attacks and ended up having to take some time off work and went to a bunch of counseling and I came back right at the beginning of COVID. And all my counselor said was like, hey, when you jump back in, just nothing stressful, nothing new, no big changes. And then it was COVID. We're like, oh, that's not going to work. So then I feel like we blinked. And it was a couple years in and probably around 22-ish, I'm guessing. I was wakeboarding with some guys or wake surfing, and I tore my bicep. I went to do had the surgery, went to do physical therapy, and after about 6 weeks, and my hand was shaking a little bit. And the girl was like, "Oh, it's probably just atrophy from you've been in a big cast for 6 weeks." So, we kept doing the physical therapy. It kept happening, and at one point, this physical therapist, she goes, you might want to see a neurologist. And I was like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why be a neurologist? And honestly, what I thought is I have had a pinched nerve before. And I've even had a couple injections in the back of my neck, and it would have kind of affect my arm and a little bit. And I thought maybe there's some sort of correlation between neck, back, head. I don't know, but maybe that's what she's thinking. So anyways, I go to see this neurologist. He's like, I want to do this certain kind of scan, and then I'm going to come back and see him. I still think he's going to tell me I have a pinched nerve. Jill goes with me, which wasn't even supposed to happen. It was a last minute thing. And we're sitting there and he gets, real serious, real fast. And we're just sitting in a chair and I'm like, he's going to tell me I need another injection in my neck. I have a pinched nerve. And he goes, I don't remember exactly what he said, but something to the effect of, if what I think is accurate, you have an incurable brain disease. And at the very least, it's in the Parkinson's family. What I think it is this other thing. And if that's the case, it's a 7-year life expectancy. And bro, I'm sitting there with my wife and she just reaches down in the chair and grabs my hand.
Yeah.
I'm just like, honestly, I think shock. And I was just, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I remember I looked at him and I go, well, okay, you said you think. What's best case scenario? And he goes, that we find lung cancer or brain cancer. And I went, wait, what? And he goes, well, at least we could maybe explain some of these symptoms, and that's at least something we could fight against. If it's what I think it is, there's nothing you can do. You can't even fight against it. And so I'm just, as you can imagine, rocked. And I go, okay, well, what's worst case scenario? And he's like, that your wife feeds and changes you every day until you die. And bro, we went out to the parking lot, sat in my truck. I just started crying. My wife is such a rock. She literally reaches in the back seat and grabs a Bible and just starts reading the Bible. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, just getting ready to pray for a miracle because that's what we're going to believe for. And I was a mess, and she was more probably than she probably was more in here dealing with it, but she was like, I'm not scared. We're going to believe for a miracle. And, so that was the beginning of it. And it was about 3 years ago.
What things since like what is day to day? Is it impacted? Are you sensing a lot of impact right now, or not? Just to kind of get an idea.
Yeah, no, I feel it nonstop. It's because I got it. Usually if someone gets what I have, it's not till your mid to late 70s or something. So it's kind of good and bad. With this, they don't know anything. They can't figure out, I'm flying to the Mayo Clinic later today. I go there a few times a year. So I take medicine 4 times a day. I see neurologists fairly often. I box every week. Boxing is one of these rare things that they think could potentially slow down the effects of it. In fact, they even had things across the country called boxing for PD, which is for Parkinson's disease. But one of the guys in my small group he's a UFC coach, and he owns a gym here in town. And so I go box with him. So exercise has ticked up a lot, medicine every day, doctor visits.
Yeah.
I feel the effects nonstop. The medicine right now, it doesn't help heal anything. It doesn't even help slow down the degeneration of the brain. It just masks symptoms. So it's I basically take dopamine 4 times a day.
Yeah.
In different forms, because the degeneration is happening on my right side of the brain, they say. So it's affecting my left side of my body.
Crazy. Shawn, just a random side note, if there's it's 3.5 hours away from here, but Rochester, Minnesota, if there's anything that you ever need from this Yahoo, let me know. Mayo Clinic's not too far away. And
I go to the one in Phoenix.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that might be a little bit of a further drive.
That'd be a little further to me, but we can still
Shawn, I'm going to be there in 3 days. I got you.
That's right.
No, that's you're probably like, okay, I don't know why I'm going to Rochester, Minnesota.
I'm in. Let's party.
Okay, Kiss the Fire. Other than it being the name of your book, what does that mean?
Okay, so the day I got this diagnosis, it was kind of funny. Our church was in the middle of a 21-day fast. I instantly went to, in a nanosecond, and how bad is this? I'm a professional pastor. I, in a nanosecond, went to, screw you, God. How could you let this happen to me? I've dedicated my life to you.
Yeah.
All I do is tell people about you. My family's sold out for this thing. And so I drove straight to a gas station in the middle of our 21-day fast and grabbed a box of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh my gosh.
And went and sat on my back porch. And my back porch is kind of
that's like the, I'm trying to think of the analogy, that's like the worst possible, I'm putting in quotes, sin that you could do during a fast.
100%.
I'm not going to go to prostitutes. Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. And so I sat on the back deck for hours, just sitting there trying to make sense of this in my mind. I don't get it and how.
Yeah.
And this can't be my story. And I sent 2 text messages, one to my small group and just said, I can't be at small group tonight. And then one to one of the guys on the leadership team of our church and said, hey, I'm going to be out for the rest of this week. Love you guys. That was it. Put the phone down. Well, I think Jill probably texted somebody and asked to pray, or I don't know how the spider web behind the scenes happened, but all I know is my phone started blowing up. And I was like, I don't have it in me. I don't have any energy I don't even have the energy to thumbs up a text.
Yep.
I got nothing.
Yep.
So I was just ignoring it. And, was really, as you can imagine, really, really just in this pit of despair of how in the world is this my life? And, the guy in my small group who is the UFC, coach, he called, and he's the one guy in my small group I'm afraid of. So I'm like, I got to answer that call. And, so I did, and he's a very close friend. And I tell him what happened. I can barely talk through the tears, and I tell him what happened. And he goes, we're going to kiss this fire and walk away whistling. And I went, Coach, that sounds good. I don't know what that means. And he said, I'm not saying it's not going to be hot. I'm not saying it's not going to burn. I'm saying we're going to walk through this thing together, and it's not going to take your joy, and it's not going to take your purpose, and it's not going to steal your calling. And you are through this, and you are going to be stronger on the other side, and I'm going to be with you every step of the way. We're going to kiss this fire. And that just became this mantra in my soul. Every day I wanted to give up on whatever. I want to give up on what I do for a living. I want to give up on dreaming about the future. I want to give up on setting goals for myself. I want to give up on whatever.
Yeah.
It became this thing in my heart where I was like, no, I don't give up. Like, he put a fighter spirit in me for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kiss this fire.
Man.
And so, and it's funny because, you know, and then Galatians 6:9 really became this like key verse in my heart. I never thought I was going to write a book about this. You know, it's at the right time, you'll reap a harvest. You'll see what God's up to if you don't give up. And I was fighting on a daily basis not to give up, honestly. And so my publisher called one day, or agent, and was like, hey, man, you know, Attacking Anxiety did da-da-da-da-da. Would you be interested in writing another book? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just not. And I told him what was going on. And, you know, he was like, man, would you consider writing about that? And I was like, I don't know if I can. I said, honestly, if I were to write anything, all it would be is sermons that I need to hear right now. That's all it would be.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that would help a lot of people if you would be willing to do that. And I had thought about it, prayed about it, was thinking about doing it, and then talked myself out of it. And I was like, no, but who cares? Nobody cares about what you're going through, and just shut up and do your job. And I was literally praying, God, what do I do? What do I do? And I was reading this randomly, going through Acts, and I think it's Acts 18. Paul had a vision. He was, you know, preaching, doing his thing, but some struggles. And in this dream, God said, don't stop speaking. Don't stay silent.
Yeah.
I'll be with you. And it just jumped off the pages at me. And I texted my publisher and I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it is. It is every single chapter is what I need to hear when I most want to give up. And whether it's give up on work, a habit that I want, a dream. And I'll be honest, there's been days when I'm like, I don't even know if I want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the future holds. They can't tell me how fast this will happen. Barring a miracle, I know where it ends. And there's days when you get in the good enough funk and a couple random things, you know, ruffle your feathers the wrong way, I can get into a pretty dark hole depression-wise quick if I let myself start. And so that's what this is, man. It is just, it's what I would tell anybody, and it's what I tell myself, who you're going through or a loved one is going through something really, really hard, and giving up feels like what you want to do.
Oh, Shawn, what like a couple of things that highlight me is just the importance of having people in your life that can speak into you like that. You know, just people who know you, people you want to answer the phone for in those moments when you feel just even like, I don't even want to like a text. Like, I don't even want to do that. But there's those certain people that you see and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this call that just will speak into you. And Shawn, like, it's what I started out by saying, by how much I respect you and how you're the real deal, and how thousands not only want to listen to you at your church, but even a Yahoo pastor out in South Dakota wants to listen to you. Cause I'm like,
please, one of the best ever.
No,
right
I'm just like, well, it's like this guy, man, I can't relate with perfect, but I can relate with someone on the journey towards Jesus, and that's you. And so what would you say so the book talks about ways to get back up.
Yeah.
One or two ways to get back up, whether it's a diagnosis, a divorce you didn't want, blowing up your life, whether it was your stupidity or somebody else's, one or two ways that you would say, here's how you can get back up.
I think I would say number one, you got to tell somebody. Man, I don't know if it's just it's not just a guy thing. I know that, but guys are maybe worse at it.
Yeah.
We just isolate. We really want people to think we're stronger than we are. And it's hard for us to ask for help. And so one of the things, you know, I did get to a point with my panic attacks in 2019 where I almost took my own life. And it was because I hadn't told anybody how bad it really was. I told people, and this is especially in church world, I feel like we're so good at this. I tell people 70, 80. If you're real close to me, I'll give you 90% of how bad it is. You know what I mean? But nobody knew the last 10%. And it was the last 10% that, like, my wife even knew, like, I was having some anxiety, I was having some depression, I would have panic attacks occasionally. Nobody knew I was sitting up late at night thinking about how to end my life after everyone went to sleep. That's the thing. Like, we underestimate the value of, like, I was the Ecclesiastes 4, pity the one who falls and has no one to help him up. Well, that only happens if we put ourselves there. Ugh. We have to put ourselves in that position. And the crazy thing is like, from the outside looking in, I think people would think that dude's got 100 best friends and the greatest job and family. But you can still isolate yourself from the best people in the world, no matter how close they are to you. And I think we do it because many reasons, but like we think we're being good to the people we love. Like, I don't want to burden them with that. I don't want them to have to carry that. But we also have insecurities somewhere down in there that go, but if they knew it was that bad, would they still respect me? Would they still like me? Would they still love me? Would they still want to do life with me? There's a bunch of those fears, I think. And pride that we all just deal with, which is, I don't want you to know how much I suck. You know? And so that to me is step one, for sure. There's so many things depending on the situation. But for me, even today, like, I'm not perfect. I'll still go through days where I deal with some anxiety or whatever. The two things I do on autopilot now is I tell somebody and then I get into God's presence. Ugh. And the getting into God's presence was actually, it's so important for me and sometimes the hardest, because I still have some broken human side to me that gets real mad at God when I think about the fact that I have this.
Yeah.
And so, like, for instance, I texted the guy, said, I'm not coming. I didn't want to go to church either. Even when I went back to work, if I wasn't preaching, I'd figure, I'm not even going to church today. And the part I most wanted to skip was worship, because it just seemed like salt in the wound to go, oh, my life's falling apart. Yeah. And I'm stand up here and put my hands up. And, but man, I got to this point where a friend texted me a verse, and I wish I could remember the reference. Dang it. I can't remember the reference, but it was you are the God who saves, you are the God that I worship, something like this. And it depended on the translation. But I basically, and I hadn't even thought about writing a book. I hadn't thought about Kiss the Fire, nothing like that. But it was something I was trying to figure out in my mind. I'm at a crossroads, and I either need to go, I believe in God, and I believe he's good, and I believe he's with me, even though this sucks about my life, and keep pursuing him, or just stop pretending and stop doing the whole thing. I feel like that was the crossroads. And one day I decided that I was like, no, I know God's good, and I know he's with me. And I know that he's hurting on the days that I'm hurting with me. And he's got a plan that I don't understand. And so I decided to go to church and to go all in and worship. And dude, I do this thing now. It's so funny. Depending on, church backgrounds and whatever, when I'm really like feeling worship, I'm a 2-hand in the air.
Me too.
Kind of. Well, often now, and most people wouldn't know why, but often now I only put one hand in the air, and it's my bad hand. And I just decided, God, I'm going to worship you with my bad hand. And that to me is, I get to worship God and give Satan the middle finger at the same time. And that to me is that embodies that attitude of Kiss the Fire. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop worshiping because I'm unhappy right now. In fact, I'll worship with the arm that's most effective. And so the two things I would tell someone, back to your question, and I'll stop rambling. You got to tell somebody, stop hiding. Yeah. You're not helping anybody. Yeah. They love you. There's people in your life, they want to be able to help you. And then get in God's presence, man. There's peace, there's joy, there's protection, there's just supernatural, so many things that happen when we get into God's presence. So those would be my 2 first steps, I think.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing that crossroads too, because everybody has those thoughts. Few people verbalize them. Even fewer pastors verbalize them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like I have had those same crossroads, and you're just like, man, whoa, am I really at this place? Yeah, I really am right now. And I'm thinking this and I'm wrestling with this. So thanks for that. And I love even that imagery, like why you only raise one hand. You know, for me, it's weird to even think about because I've never really verbalized this. I raise 2 hands. For me, it symbolizes surrender.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like almost like out on a battlefield. And I just get to that place where I'm like, I can't flip and do this. I don't even want to try or act like it. I got no shame. Like, I'm just like, you take my weapons. I'm whatever you want. Like, you know, that. And then a lot of times I'll even just picture, because I just get so out of whack so quickly. I just picture like if I was in a hole and needed someone to pull me out of it.
I love that.
It's just like, yep, I'm back in this place again that I really, really hate. So you just come and just get me the heck out of this place. So thanks for sharing that. Shawn, is there a moment, not just to get back up, but to start like dreaming again, to start, are you at that place? That's maybe the first part. And then like, how do you get to that place? Because again, reality, you don't need me to tell this. The reality is, man, your future, you don't, physically, your body is going to And the same thing for another person. Your future, you blew up your life. It's over, Liz. Like, how do you start? I don't want to just get back up. I want to dream again. I want to like flourish. Any wisdom there?
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind right when you say that. One is, well, I think it's just realizing that you're not dreaming anymore. It was a weird thing, you know, because again, we talked at the beginning of this about, you know, being driven. You know, I've never had a problem with having something on the radar of what we're trying to do now. And me and my wife were sitting down at dinner one night, and she just out of the blue, she's like, "Babe, what are you dreaming about right now?" And I went, "Oh, dang. I have spent so much of my thought life, my energy, my emotions being upset, trying to wrap my mind around this, trying to just get up the energy and everything it takes to go do my job." I had no answer. I literally was like, I'm not dreaming of anything. And we were meeting with our financial advisor. You know, he's a great friend, and we meet with him once a year. And every time, if you do the same, every time you meet with him, he just takes more of your money. That's all they do. And so I was meeting with him.
It's a terrible friend.
No, he's awesome. But he was, you know, we're always talking about, you know, at what age do you want to be able to do what and all this stuff. And he was talking about that. And because he's a friend, I think I felt comfortable enough to be honest. And I was just like, "Hey dude, I don't care. I have no plans. He was talking about like what kind of trips and what kind of things. And I said, I don't care. I don't even know that I'll be able to take trips. So I don't care. Just you figure it out. So Jill and the kids are really taken care of." Ugh. And that, I wasn't trying to like, you know, be spicy. That was just how I was feeling in my head. And so, yeah, there are still times when I go, man, I don't know how this is going to play out. But the truth is, none of us do. I just happen to have gotten a diagnosis that makes me think about it a little bit more than I ever used to. I was talking with Pastor Chris one day. He called me. He was like, "How you doing today?" I was like, "Man, today's a pretty crappy day. I'm going to be honest." I'm just in my head thinking about the what ifs, trying to get enough energy to get off my couch and on the back porch where I'm sitting and just go to work and just struggling. And he goes, "That's what your prayer time's for." He said, "You pray in the morning, you tell God how mad you are, and then you decide, I'm going to go live today." Ugh. Messing around. I'm going to go be the best father I can be today. I'm going to go be the best husband I can be. I'm going to go be the best friend, the best pastor. And he told me a story about someone who he knew that got a diagnosis and then stopped living for several years and never felt the effects of the diagnosis, just stopped living. And then all of a sudden, one day the diagnosis kicked in real strong and he died within a few weeks. So he just missed years of what could have been his regular life, worrying about what might be in the future.
Yeah.
And so for me, I try to, if I wake up mad, I wake up oddly enough at a real dopamine deficiency. And so I have to instantly take medicine. And so it's easy for me to wake up feeling a lack of motivation or just kind of down or numb. But yeah, so for me, it's if I'm feeling mad, sad, scared, whatever it is, I'm gonna go tell God about it, and then I'm just gonna decide. I might get hit by a bus 3 weeks from now, and this diagnosis never even mattered.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go be a great dad today. I'm gonna go shoot hoops when I'm tired. When I used to would have said, maybe tomorrow. I'm like, nah, let's go, bro. The first thing me and Jill did when we got this diagnosis in that realm was our bucket list was one day she'd always dreamed of someday what if we could take our boys to the Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And the week after we got the diagnosis, we planned that trip. And I was just like, screw it.
Yeah.
We're not living someday. We're living today. And so just kind of a mental shift of I'm just going to have to start. And I now calendar out things to look forward to. So I look at all the seasons of work and school for the kids and sports. And then I just go, okay, that's a busy 3 months. Right there, me and Jill are going somewhere for 4 days and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then this is the deal. And right there, me and my family. So I calendar out things to look forward to.
That's good.
So that I keep looking forward to things. And ask my wife a bunch about her bucket list and try and figure out, how can we start hitting some of that? And, but it had to be a real conscious decision, because on autopilot, I was just like, I didn't realize it, but I had stopped dreaming.
Thank you guys so much for joining in today. We are so blessed to have each one of you listening and watching, hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, and just feel so grateful.
Yeah, shout out to Shawn. Shawn, I don't take it lightly to have the time with you. Just love and appreciate you big time. Thanks to our partners, IJM, the International Justice Mission. Go become a Freedom Partner. And then Vernetti Motor Cars, which is just awesome. So go buy a vehicle through them. Also, those Tommy John gift cards. I'm not joking. If you don't sign up, I'm going to sign up for all 3 of them. So go to our
He's really
YouTube.
Passionate about it, guys.
They're
just
so
sign up.
good. I'm like, what are you doing? Go. You want PJs like mine. They're incredible. Go to our YouTube and just leave a comment that you subscribed, and we'll make that happen. So have an awesome rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.